comfort of talking about whatever floats your boat, and I guess that's one of those things, isn't it?
Yes.
It's important to have a healthy, happy relationship, not just today, but every day. Dr. Rachel Needle is joining us this morning with some great advice, whether you're single or in a relationship. Nice to have you with us, Rachel. Nice
Thank
to
you
see
for
you
having
again.
me.
So what's the one key tip you have for having a happy and healthy relationship?
Of course, there are so many, but if you had to pick one, I'd say communicate openly and non-judgmentally.
Non-judgmentally, I think, is key to that, too.
Absolutely.
Because you can communicate, but it can be with a tone.
Absolutely.
Not what you say, but how you say it. What are some other tips?
So I would say trust and respect your partner. People in healthy relationships tend to be happier and have better well-being and are more satisfied with life. So you want to make time for your partner. You want to make sure that you're listening to your partner, remembering things that they say, engage in healthy activities together, and communicate.
So you might think on that list it would have to be then no arguing. And, sometimes you hear people say, well, we've never had an argument. Is it normal to argue, or is it not healthy to argue?
Sure, man. I think in all relationships, right? Not just romantic relationships, but also friendships, familial relationships, you're going to disagree at times. I think it's the way that you disagree that makes the difference.
What are some good ways to argue then?
So listen to your partner or the other person and hear what they're saying, be able to empathize and understand where they're coming from. So don't listen just to respond, and agree to disagree at times.
Is it possible sometimes to tune in and listen and be willing to say, you're right, I'm sorry? I mean, that just seems hard to do that when you're arguing.
Absolutely. I think it's possible, but it's also not necessarily necessary. So you don't have to always agree. You just have to be able to hear and let your partner know that they were heard.
What is the key in today when in most relationships, both parents or adults in the relationship are working. They've got kids. The kids have a ton of activities. You've got a ton of activities. How do you? It just seems hard to juggle it all and to keep that relationship healthy. Is there a key for that group of people too, which is most of us?
Absolutely. It's incredibly difficult now, especially with two parents in the home, often working. I think it's important to prioritize your relationship. So a lot of people will say, okay, my children come first. Work comes first. If you're not prioritizing your relationship, you're not going to be any good for work or your children. So make time for the relationship. Schedule that time for just one-on-one time to do things that are fun together, things you used to do. Continue to date your partner and get to know them.
And a very important part of our society today are people who are single.
Yes.
And people say, oh, wouldn't you be happier if you're in a relationship? And I have single friends who do not want to be any other way but single. And sometimes I'm envious of them. And what's the key to being a happy single?
Well, I think enjoy your singleness. Today especially, I think it's a difficult day for people that are not in relationships and want to be. There's a lot of things that they can be doing to enjoy the day and focus on their other relationships and people they love in their life.
I think this is all great advice. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you for making it a lot better for a lot of people too, Rachel. Appreciate it.